Welcome to release week for Haunt Season, Restless Spirits Book 2. Oh, the reason that I'm laughing is that I have a few outtakes. I may pop them onto the end of this video, but it's always funny when you get tongue-tied when you're trying to get this thing started. Anyway, today is June 20th, 2026, which means it is technically day 2 of release week for Haunt Season because Haunt Season will be available in ebook form across all platforms, hopefully. JT is working on that today to make sure everything is up and ready to go. The paperback version will also be available on Amazon on Friday. It is locked in the Amazon system as of today, so I cannot make any changes to it until after release day. I'm hoping everything is good, but when I checked my proof, it looked fine, so knock on wood. This is an exciting week because obviously release week is always exciting for an author. If you have been following my videos, you will have seen that I was editing Haunt Season while I was writing Battleborn Bride, which I'm scheduling for October of this year. So I was working on 2 books at the same time and basically driving myself up the wall because I'm never planning to do that again, at least not in the same way. So, what am I doing for release week? Well, this basically is my kickoff video. And as I said, today is really day 2 since the book comes out on Friday, and today is the Saturday before. I don't really have a lot of plans to promote this book because I was so busy with all the writing and editing that I really didn't have time to deal with the marketing aspect. So I am going to do some social media posts throughout the week. I will do a series of videos on here talking about release week, and I will create a release week playlist that I will be using for this book as well as Battleborn Bride, because I do have a lot more plans for Battleborn Bride, and we are several months out from that release, so I have more time to plan ahead. And I may do things like book sirens and maybe advanced review readers for Battleborn Bride. But with Haunt Season so close to release, basically, it's just going to be social media posts. I'm going to work on some persistent marketing, and I'll talk more about that as the week progresses. But for today, I just thought I would get this ball rolling and talk about the fact that I am releasing Haunt Season on Friday, June 26, 2026. Now, Haunt Season is book 2 in the Restless Spirit series. Book 1, Passion Restored, is already out in the world. It is available as both an ebook and a paperback. And if you are unable to go out and purchase a copy, you can go to your local library and see if they have it available there as well. Because our books are available on Hoopla and Overdrive, which many library systems use. So if your library doesn't currently have the book available, you can request it and check it out in more ways than one. I do recommend that you visit your local libraries, request books by your favorite indie authors through them. And the indie authors do get a small fee when the library licenses the book. It's usually, I believe, licensed for a year, but the author can also get a small, it's usually just a few cents anytime someone checks it out. So definitely, if you haven't yet read Passion Restored and you want to jump on the series as it's releasing, you can go check that out from a local library and read it in advance of the release of Haunt Season, which is coming out on Friday. This will also be available to libraries. So after Friday, you should be able to go to your local library and request copies of both of them. I believe it should be active through Hoopla and Overdrive at that point because the ebook will be releasing on the 26th. So I think at that point, libraries will be able to request it as well. So definitely go and check those out. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the series overall. It is a group, a multi-generational friends group that has a paranormal investigations team called Beyond Investigations. Some of the characters in this group will be taking the forefront of each of the stories. So, for example, in Passion Restored, it is Nico Sampson and Angela Moran, and it is their story of meeting on a dark street corner in Virginia City and becoming attracted to each other, but they're not sure if the attraction is real or if it's something that's being spurred by a tragic couple from the past. So this book does take place in two time periods. Most of it is modern day, but a little bit of backstory is peppered in about the couple from the past that were in Virginia City during the Great Fire of 1875. So there are some historic elements included as well, though it is mostly a fictional story. Haunt Season picks up with a couple that's not technically a member of Beyond Investigations, but they know the Beyond Investigations group. This is the story of Allison and David Manning. They are getting ready to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Allison has been losing her hearing, and basically her husband has become her caregiver. And as happens with some long married couples, they've become more caretaker and patient than lovers. So with her, she has cochlear implant surgery, and they become involved with the Beyond Investigations team because their grandson is the assistant to one of the stars of a TV show called Restless Spirits, which is where the name of the series comes from, because the people involved in the books are also either fans of the show or are somehow related to the show in some way. So there are many things happening throughout this series. And with David and Allison Manning, they become involved with the Beyond Investigations team because their grandson is the assistant to basically his brother, who is one of the stars of Restless Spirits. And the show is getting to the point where it's going to be winding down, and his brother will not have need of his services anymore. So the grandson is trying to set out on his own to become a director of videos, whether for studios or for just online posting. So his grandparents have agreed to do investigations of historic sites for paranormal activity, and they become involved with Beyond Investigations. And I know that was probably a roundabout way of describing this. That was definitely not my one sentence elevator pitch, but David and Allison Manning and their grandson work with the Beyond Investigations team to investigate a series of historic locations that may or may not be haunted. One of them is a cemetery in Reno, one is a hotel in Virginia City, and the third one is actually the Nevada State Prison, the historic one in Carson City, Nevada. So, haunt season takes place in multiple locations. There are several references to different paranormal investigations, and the story will end up in Southern California, and that's where book 3 will take off. So, basically, the challenge with David and Allison Manning is whether or not their relationship will survive until their 50th wedding anniversary, which is very close, and whether or not Allison will survive as well. So those are the 2 books so far in the Restless Spirit series. As I said, the description I gave was a bit convoluted, but I'm doing this on the fly because I'm actually going up to visit my kids again today, my kids and my grandkids. So I don't have a lot of time to work on this video. And I have found that scripting a video and then posting it takes much longer than just sitting down and recording something, which is one reason why for my Life of a Writer 2026 playlist, most of my videos are completely unscripted. I just sit down and talk about whatever is on my mind at the moment. But I should try, at least for this week, to do a little bit better with my videos about my books, as I am promoting haunt season for this release week. So that was a lot. And as I said, I know it was convoluted, but hopefully you followed along and maybe you might be interested in checking out both Passion Restored and Haunt Season. I will say that they do, well, Passion Restored is 99 cents in ebook form on Amazon. The paperbacks will be the same price, not 99 cents, but um, both Passion Restored and Haunt Season will be the same price. And I will say that Passion Restored is a little bit thicker than Haunt Season because I did different formatting internally, and Passion Restored includes uh, pages that have social media posts and QR codes that lead to newspaper articles about the historic time period that I'm talking about in the book. So the word count in both books is the same, but one looks bigger than the other one because of the different formatting and because Passion Restored does have a little bit of added information included. So I am going to be selling them for the same price, and we'll see how that goes. I am going to be reformatting Passion Restored at some point, but probably not until the entire series has released. So after Haunt Season, I do have plans for 4 more books in the series. The third book is written, needs revisions and editing, so it may come out either at the end of 2026 or the beginning of 2027. And then my plan is to complete the series throughout 2027 going into 2028. So if you like to read book series as they are in progress, you can check out my Restless Spirit series. I'm really excited to finally be getting this out into the world because I've had it in my mind for years now, and it is a new genre for me. I have not really written paranormal romance before, so I hope readers find it enjoyable. Passion Restored also includes a little bit of another one of my loves, home renovation, because I was really into HGTV television shows for quite some time. So there is a bit of a backstory in Passion Restored about the home renovation that Nico Sampson is doing, which leads into a little bit of the paranormal activity. Haunt Season does not have the um, home improvement aspect of it, even though David Manning is an architect, or he was an architect. He's a retired architect. And so he does talk about, very briefly, some architectural things about the Silver Queen Hotel that they visit in Virginia City. So there is a tiny kind of mention of architecture in that book, but there is no renovation. So going forward, we will be picking up some new characters in book 3, new-ish at least, because they are mentioned in the current books, but we'll be shifting gears out of northern Nevada to Southern California, and things will take off in another interesting direction, I hope. But all of the characters will remain involved in the book series going forward. So the Beyond Investigations team, the Mannings, and I think there are a couple of other people that are related to them in other ways. For example, the father of one of the Beyond Investigations team is also mentioned. He was involved in the renovation of Nico Sampson's house. So there are a lot of connections between the characters in these books, even though the locations will be changing up a little bit. But overall, it does have the backstory of many of them being fans of the Restless Spirit series. We will be learning more about the television show as the book series progresses, and it will be interesting to see how what is in my mind ends up coming out, or how it ends up coming out on the page. So I'm getting a little tongue-tied now. I've kind of talked myself in circles. Which I do sometimes when I'm writing, and that's why it's so important to have beta readers and editors help me straighten these things out. So the stories themselves should be a lot more clear cut than what you hear from me when I'm just talking, because yeah, my mind can be going in a lot of circles. So Today is day 2 of release week for haunt season. This is my new playlist, and I will be adding more to it for different books going forward. But in the meantime, I will be adding to this playlist throughout the course of release week, and I'm not entirely sure what I will be doing on release day. I may sit down and do something a little special, but I haven't decided yet. So if you want to find out exactly what I'm up to this coming week, then be sure to follow along on these videos. Definitely, if you haven't yet read it, check out Passion Restored. You have many ways to obtain a copy that would not cost you anything. So you can get it either as an ebook through Amazon for 99 cents. You can get it in ebook version on other sites if you if you prefer not to use Amazon, or you can request it from your local library. So if your local library doesn't already have it, you may not get it right away because normally I think they do their purchases maybe monthly or something like that. It depends on how the library system works. So it may not be an automatic, you request it and it appears, but definitely if your library system doesn't have it, I would appreciate if you requested it from them as well, because the more visible the book becomes across the country, the better. Right now, JT and I are promoting our books locally as hard as we can. We have a series of events coming up in July where I should hopefully have physical copies of my paperback of Haunt Season available. And of course, I will also have paperback versions of Passion Restored as well. We also have an online bookstore at carsonhume.com or carsonhume.square.site if you want to go directly to the bookstore. The books, if you are in the local area, Northern Nevada, Reno, Sparks, Carson City, Douglas County, up at Lake Tahoe, and you would like to buy a copy from our bookstore, please go ahead and complete the purchase. Let us know. We will refund you the shipping charges, and we can meet you at the location of your choice, a public location like a coffee shop, and hand over the book and have a brief chat with you if you'd like. Or definitely come out to one of our events. If you go to our website at carsonhume.com, you will see a list of our upcoming events. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We did update just this morning while we had our weekly meeting. So that's definitely a place where you can look to see where we will be meeting and greeting you in public. We have no plans to do any events outside of Nevada at this point in time, but we'll see what happens in 2027. For 2026, we're looking at just staying close to home, especially with, as we know, all of the travel costs and all other costs rising. So we do understand if your finances are a little strapped. So, like I said, if you can't afford to go out and buy your own copy, please be sure to request it from your local library. You can also request copies be brought into your local independent bookstores as well, because we release our books through Draft to Digital and they make them available through Ingram Spark. So they can be purchased by your local independent bookstore, which is another way to get them if you don't feel like purchasing them online and you would like to actually support your local independent bookstore as well. You can also find many local independent bookstores on a site called bookshop.org. You can find our books there as well, and you can purchase them and have part of the proceeds go to your local independent bookstore that way. So there are many, many ways to obtain copies of these books. Like I said, if you go to our website, www.carsonhume.com, that gives you basically the overall information about all of our books. JT has released quite a few. He has another one coming out next month. I will have another book coming out in October. And then going forward, you can stay updated if you subscribe to our newsletter, which we send out monthly when I remember. I'm going to do better about that moving forward. But just all the information is available if you go to www.carsonhume.com. And I think that's enough promoting for right now. I'm not sure what I will be talking about tomorrow. Maybe my social media plans for the week going forward with Haunt Season releasing on Friday. So stay tuned if you're interested in that and how I prepare my social media posts, I can talk a little bit about how I use Canva to prepare graphics for social media and things like that, and also how I create what we call persistent marketing materials that relate to our books that can be used at any time. We also do specific marketing materials that relate to anytime we might have a sale, a new release, or we're doing something for a specific holiday. Maybe a book would tie into, for example, these books would probably be enjoyable to some people around Halloween, even though they could be read at any time because they don't take place at Halloween. It's just they have a little bit of a spooky vibe to them. So I'll talk more about social media going forward, but for today, I think I'm done. I thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy following along on my release week posts for haunt season. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure how the week's going to play out, so please follow along just to see what kind of surprises are in store. But in the meantime, I have to go get this posted so I can go visit my kids and grandkids, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care. Welcome to release week for haunt season. Welcome to release season.